Hey guys, it's just moving around to make sure that you're not getting a full view of the light shining in your eyes. So, um, we are kind of getting to the end of the month of ending, believe it or not, because we're almost at the end of October. So, it's amazing how fast time has gone. We're like halfway through. It's kind of crazy. But today I have a live stream to just read from I have my paperback copy. Look how pretty. I'm going to read a section from season 3 of the Raventree Society. I'm a little bit scattered. I'm sorry if I haven't collected myself entirely. Abigail Hayes is already here. Hello, Abigail. Abigail is awesome. She's probably waiting for me. So we're going to read a section from that. And then if you guys have any questions or comments afterwards, feel free to leave them. Before we start, I'm going to go ahead and she says, why, thank you. I have a few announcements to make. So one of them is that starting at 7:30, there's going to be yet another giveaway. Yes, I've had one every week. So I'm going to be giving away these prints. I actually still need to get Kyle's print because I haven't quite finished his yet. Apparently it didn't come out. But these are character art painted by myself. And I'm going to be signing them. And if you enter, you might very well win one of these, or all of them, I should say. I'm giving them all away at once. So you've probably, if you've been hanging around my social media, you've probably already seen all these. And I have one more that hasn't come yet. So I'm going to be signing those and giving away those art prints. Those are good-sized art prints. So that's the giveaway for this week. I just finished the giveaway of the Raventree Society mug. Now, this is still available to anyone who wants to purchase it, along with any of my Raventree Society merch or any of my merch in general. So if you head over to my merch store until the end of October, you can actually get this or any of my other designs for $2 off with the code RTS3. Pretty sure that's it. You might want to double check on the promo page, but that's the giveaway on that. So I also have a few other goodies that went live on my stuff this week. So I have some printouts of the bookmarks that I made. So you can actually, if you download the image, I put the image up on my Discord and on my Coffee, and you can download the image and print out a little bookmark. So they actually come in this size, but this is better because these are printed out on cream color paper. So they're nice little bookmarks, just one-sided, and they have pictures. I'm going to show you from the smaller ones because they are a little bit clearer, but images from each of the books. So that's the cover art from season 1, season 2, and season 3. So those are free to download on my Coffee or my Discord. And then also I wanted to let you guys know that Little Mouse Bookshelf, who created this custom candle for my giveaway, has added Raventree Society candles on her Etsy store. So we did a live stream last week. That was last week's live stream. It's still on my Instagram. You can still view it on my Instagram. That's a new feature. That was fun figuring out. But it's still live on my Instagram, so you can go actually view that and hear about the process of making these candles. But she has put her all the Raventree Society candles on her Etsy store, so you can go pick them up if you did not win. So she's got this one actually in this jar with this coloring. And then she actually, so all the other testers that she sent me, she has those available as well. So you could get the same scent in a smaller jar. This one is now titled Kyle, so you can get a scent inspired by Kyle. Or, sorry, Tyler. This one's Tyler. This one's Kyle. And a scent inspired by Kyle as well. So you can get all of those on her Etsy shop. So if you did not win, those are still available, and they will be available for a while. So I'll make sure when I do the put more stuff in the description. Like I said, I'm scatterbrained. This weekend has been insane, guys. I'll tell you just a few details before I get into reading. But yeah, I'll put those in the description so that you guys can see that. I think that's all of my announcements for this week. Of course, the promo is still going for a few more weeks, so that means I'm still reading. I'm reading Turn of the Screw, and you can see on my Discord, I'm going through that. Focusing on creepy reads on my Instagram, and on my blog posts, and then on every Thursday I'm doing like a live tweet of a movie that I'm watching, so you're welcome to watch it with me. I did Coraline last week, and I think I'm going to try and get Corpse Bride, which is my favorite thus far, for this Thursday. So if you want to join me for Corpse Bride, that's available. That's going to be on Twitter to watch that. And then I haven't decided, so if you guys have any suggestions of like good Halloween stuff that you think would be my taste, and I have very specific taste, but if you have any suggestions, let me know, and that can be our last watch before Halloween. So yeah, so I think that's all of my announcements. If not, I'll bring them up again later. I actually made some apple cider for myself. Apple cider is like my favorite October, November drink, and it's my favorite smell in the world. So, a little bit too much sugar on this batch, but it's still really good. It was probably already sweetened to begin with. So, apple cider. It's the best warm and mulled. I like put in spices and it's delicious. So, before we get going, Abigail says she got hers. I'm assuming she means she got her bookmarks. But yes. She's so sweet. She says she can't wait to show them to her writers group. Okay, so I'm trying to get back on focus. Oh, her candles. She got her candles. Ah, yes. I'm so glad you got the candles. Yes. They're amazing. They smell so good. So before we get going, and just as explanation as to why I'm like so ditzy tonight, I'll kind of explain what this weekend was. So my family was in town this week to spread my mom's ashes. We went down to the seashore, and it was a really sweet family time, and I brought back a little bit of sand in this tiny little mason jar as kind of a memory, token memory, which was, it was a sweet time. So when we did that, and then my husband had a tooth infection, and being a guy, he's had this tooth issue for a while. Being a guy, he decided to try and pull it himself. So he tried to pull it himself on Friday, and on Saturday he woke up with a fever. And then when I got home on Saturday from the beach at 4:30, he still had a fever. So we went into the ER on Saturday night. So that was yesterday's adventure, and then this morning dealing with all the fallout for that, which is part of the reason why I'm so scatterbrained, because I've been trying to recollect myself after all that crazy. It will be very interesting tomorrow at work. But a little bit of adventure, right? I mean, I guess October is living up to its like creepy, scary things happening. But yeah, so I have season 3. And I already have it picked out. So, just before we start, I want to kind of explain. If you don't know anything about the Raventree Society, they're separated a lot like TV shows. So there's each season, which has a story arc, and then there's each episode has a separate story arc, and it focuses on a different haunted area. And then this series has an overall arc. So, often within episodes, and I have a slightly different structure, but I try to kind of stick to a similar structure. So I kind of ripped off of the Supernatural TV show, when in the beginning of the Supernatural TV show, they always kind of show like the ghost killing someone, right? There's the cliche like CW splatter of ketchup, right? So I was kind of ripping off of that. And I usually have, at least in a couple of episodes per season, I have a section that's from the perspective of someone who was killed by a ghost. And I have some sort of in-world explanation for that, being that Kyle, my main character, is being influenced by different ghosts. And because he has two specific ghosts who have attached themselves to him, one kind of draws negative attention from ghosts who want to kill him, and the other one actually draws and amplifies positive attention from ghosts who kind of warn him what's going to come. So he doesn't usually get help other than a little bit of warning. So in certain episodes, I'll go, and you'll be able to tell because it'll be in italics, I'll go and kind of tell a little ghost story that's separate, and it's kind of non-spoilery, and it'll be specific to that story. So I am pretty sure that this is non-spoilery, but if I do reveal something, I'm sorry I've spoiled the entire series for you because it's going to be in the final season. But like I said, I'm pretty definite there's no spoilers. So I'm going to be reading for you guys from episode 4, Den House, which is actually where the cover image comes from. So this is a haunted house, which is the depiction of Dun House. And if you look a little bit closer, there's also the noose from our main baddie. Abigail says, LOL, no spoiler issues for me, because she's already read it. Woohoo! So I don't need to worry about Abigail, at least. So let me just find where we're at. So in this particular episode, I'll just give a little bit of like non-spoilery background. Kyle and the Raventree Society, which is his supernatural paranormal investigations team, go into a particular haunted house. I'm trying to see. There we are. Gotta find where it starts. And I should have had this ready for you guys, but like I said, I'm extremely scatterbrained today. Okay, so when I was actually reading this one, I pulled a lot for myself. So this is probably the closest to like me as an author, right? So it should be interesting reading this. Also with the world's sweetest apple cider. Put way too much sugar in it. And yet I'm still drinking it. That's because apple cider is just so good, guys. Okay, so I'm going to start reading. Like I said, throw your comments and your questions if you have any in, and if we have a little bit of time at the end, we'll answer those. So, Audra paused, books in hand, at the edge of the carpet. The door was open again. She'd closed it on her way through just 10 minutes ago, and she was sure of it this time. It was, by her count, the third time in the last hour, and she was not willing to admit that she'd been mistaken 3 times. Either something was wrong or she was losing her mind. No wonder it was such a common haunted house movie trope. It was a simple yet oddly terrifying, particularly when you had just purchased the house specifically for its reputation in regards to spirits. Audra dug into the pocket of her robe and pulled out her phone. Open doors, she typed. Something poetic about opening doors to fear. Stephen King had better look out. She was going to sneak up and take his place as world-famous horror author if he didn't. Laughing softly, she pushed the door shut again, making sure the latch took. It was a whole lot of daydreaming, but she was happy to daydream. In an industry well known for empty bank accounts, she had managed to put away enough money from her book deal for a home of her own and the cost of refurbishment. A good portion of her account was put there by grandmother's passing, but she had managed to pay her bills with her earnings, at least. Make enough money that she didn't need to dip into the inheritance before then. Audra took the stairs fast, with a bit of a jump in her step. Research was one of her favorite parts of the process. Marketing had been eating up her time since her last release, but now, with the tour and the last convention finally over, she had a few days to herself to actually enjoy her new fireplace. It was big enough to eat her, perfect for reading. This was what every author dreamed of, and she'd gotten it dirt cheap too, thanks to the rumors. Hauntings were a desirable feature for a horror author, so it didn't concern her. She cut a path through the kitchen on her way to the sitting room. The smell of fresh cookies made her mouth fill with saliva. She had been extra good during her tour. She could afford to have 2 cookies. No girl was going to burst out of her clothes because of 1 extra cookie. With twin cookies oozing chocolate onto her plate, she turned to find her mug of tea. It sat on the kitchen island. The kitchen was the first thing she had renovated and it gave her a little thrill of joy every time she saw it. She placed the plate on her pile of research books and grabbed the mug. It was freezing. That was odd. She'd just made it before she'd gone upstairs for her books. There was no way it should have been so cold. Placing the books on the countertop, she lifted the cup. A shimmer of ice marred the surface, radiating white crystals out from the string of the tea bag. Audra tugged at the string. With a soft crack, the ice dissipated, melting away to release a puff of wet, jasmine-scented steam. Audra stuck her pinky into the water and pulled it back with a soft yelp. Hot. It was really hot. She sucked on her finger and stared at the rebellious beverage. That was it. No more book tours. She was losing her mind. An introvert like her should be snuggled in the brand new living room, enjoying a roaring fire and the absence of the internet. Maybe I should have chosen something stronger than tea, she muttered. That was a quandary for another day. Right now, her sweet tooth was calling to her, as was the stack of research books she'd collected. She retrieved all of her necessities and pushed the door to the living room open with her hip. The fire greeted her with a happy crackle as she carefully transferred her load to the side table and all but jumped into the oversized chair. What did people need television for? This was the life. Audra grabbed a cookie from the first of her tower of books. It was a gorgeous old tome she'd picked up in the local bookstore. The pages were yellow and fragile and smelled of cedar. Judging from the title and first few pages, a world of Celtic lore filled these chapters. She could find inspiration for her next bestseller here. Well, her first bestseller. But she took a deep breath, inhaling the smell of the pages along with the mingling aroma of jasmine, wood smoke, and chocolate. Now she just needed to stay awake. That was harder than it should be. The crackling of the fireplace and the loud, constant tick of the clock was far too soothing, and with the introduction of the book, which, while interesting, lacked the energy she needed to keep her eyes from drooping, her chin hit her chest more than once. She was losing the battle to keep her eyes propped open. Just a moment, and then she would get up and walk around the room. Try again. She just needed to rest her eyes for a moment. Something cold brushed against her leg. Audra shifted slightly, trying to kick it away. She didn't have much energy to react. She was far too comfortable. The cold intensified, and a touch turned into a sharp pain as fingers closed around her ankle. This was a dream. She was having some sort of weird waking dream. It was creepy, though. She'd have to write it down when she found the energy to open her eyes. The hand tugged. Audra's eyes shot open. Directly before her stood a bent, thin old woman. She was so close, and her wispy hair fell on Audra's chest. Her wrinkled face had the texture of charred leather, and it was taut over her skull. Her arm bent back in an unnatural angle, allowing a hand with impossibly long fingers to grasp Audra's ankle. Audra's mind spun like a whirlpool, each thought disappearing before she could grasp any of it. Finally, she managed to pull up something vaguely intelligible. It was a ghost, a real one. If she had not been so terrified, she might have been ashamed for her own stupidity. Who bought a haunted house? The old woman's other arm lifted slowly, shrouded in a thin, worn sleeve. A knife hung from her fist. Audra tilted her head slightly, staring at the shimmering black point above her. That was curious. Why would a ghost need a weapon? This was really very bad writing, like an untalented actor at a Halloween attraction. The hag screamed and her jaw fell away from her face, hanging in a disjointed, unnatural state, as her voice rose in a wild pitch. No, that was Audra screaming. The knife fell, piercing Audra's shoulder and shooting cold fingers through her body. There wasn't any blood, but the piercing cold traveled through Audra like lightning. She convulsed and gasped for breath as the pain reached from her shoulder down into her chest and wrapped around her heart. The old woman faded, leaving only the dying light of a smothered fire and a creeping cold filling the room as the clock ticked on and Audra's eyes closed. The end. Well, the end of that particular ghost story. So Abigail said, amen on the cookie statement. And as always, I love the use of your imagery. Thank you so much. That one was, like I said, a fun one to write because I connected so much with Audra. I too have a sweet tooth. And I got to bring in a lot of those little author musings when talking about owning your own house and how you would pick it and research being really exciting. So all of that kind of stuff was really fun to add into there and imagine, like, how would I be if I was successful enough to actually buy a house? But I probably wouldn't buy a haunted house, actually. But thankfully, I don't live in a horror novel. So anyways, so that's it from there. This is turning out to be a really short stream, which is fine with me because I'm pretty tired. But it's always fun to get on here. So are there any questions before I get off for the night? Abigail says, rest well. Yes, rest is definitely coming soon. As is food. Food is good too. Abigail said, no questions. I'm just excited to finish it. That's great. All right, well, guys, I have next week on Saturday, I'm going to be doing an Ask Me Anything session on Facebook. If you want to join or if you want to send ahead some of your questions, that'd be great, actually. So I'd have something to start with. So if you're interested in getting some questions in, you can send them to my email or Discord, Twitter, any other places where you can contact me. And I will set those aside for later. And I'm sure I'll do a call on social media later this week. And then I'm going to be doing a Halloween live stream as well. So let me know if there's anything particular you want to see on Halloween. I don't expect a ton of people there because I think people are going to be out celebrating a little bit, even though with COVID, Halloween is probably going to be a little bit less exciting this year. But I don't know, maybe I'll make caramel apples and bring those and stuff. So there's always fun things to do on Halloween. But anyways, I'm going to go get some rest. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the little ghost story. And let me know if you guys are reading this series. If you enjoy it, I would love to hear your thoughts. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Abigail. I really appreciate your comments and you joining in. All right, bye, guys.